This is wonderful stuff. I'll relay an interesting anecdote to you. We had an intern, that's corporate speak for slave, that we had at Sprott some years ago. And we gave this young person a task to pull at random 25 issuers, TSXV resource companies, and look at the balance sheet and the income statement over 5 years. And I actually tricked this poor intern. I said, I know what I want you to find, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to play to me. I want you to use your mind and look at these financial statements. I actually had nothing in mind. I just wanted to see what they came up with. And this intern came to me and says, okay, Rick, I think I got it. And I said, okay, what do you think you got? What they got was that general and administrative expenses in these 25 juniors consumed more than 60% of capital raised. So less than 40% of capital raised went in the ground. If you are confronted in that circumstance with somebody that comes to you and pitches you a private placement and says that they're, penny pinchers and experienced explorers and all of this, what I think you can relate to them is that the notoriously inefficient major mining companies, if they take a joint venture from a junior, if they put $1 million in the ground, may allocate $120,000 to $150,000 for general and administrative expense. And these TSX pretenders were spending 60 to 65% on general and administrative expense. If you are confronted with a circumstance where the junior who proposes to raise your money historically has spent 60% of the money raised on general and administrative expense, you employ what Americans call the Nancy Reagan defense. You just say no. The other thing that you can learn from these publicly available documents is whether or not the management team believes what they're telling you. There's nobody in a better position to understand the value proposition offered up by a company than the current management team. If you look at the shareholdings of the current management team and look at how they acquired them, you will understand to some degree of certainty how confident they are in the affairs of the junior. I listened to a presentation this morning where a guy was telling me how cheap his company was, and he had a $3 million market cap. And I asked him how much of the stock he owned, and he replied, "I'm not a rich man." Well, that's an interesting pitch to begin with. Somebody who has worked 25 years in their career and hasn't built up enough wealth to own a substantial portion of a $3 million market cap is probably not somebody who's a particularly good steward of capital for an old fat rich guy like me. Why would I bother? If you haven't done anything for you, why would I care? Or if you have done something for you and this deal isn't a good enough proposition for you, why would it be a good proposition for me?